What were the pulps? Cheaply printed, luridly illustrated, sensationally written magazines of fiction. Were they any good? No. They were great. Hello and welcome to Pulp Culture. I'm Nate Price, and today let's discuss why pulp matters. Because the pulps did so much more than entertain. They became the very foundation of American pop culture. They defined classic genres, invented new ones, and inspired countless creators long after the printers stopped running. Without them, there would be no Star Wars, no Star Trek, no Indiana Jones, no Batman, no Superman. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's start with So, what's the first thing that comes to mind when you hear the term pulp fiction? Damn it, Tarantino! Okay, what's the second thing you think of? Yeah, that's more like it. Those iconic, beautifully painted covers of strong men, beautiful women, and a hint of danger lurking within every issue. Covers designed to stick in the mind of everyone who passed the newsstand, and with art by the likes of Norman Saunders, Margaret Brundage, and Hugh J. Ward, they sure did. Heck, the cover art was so important, sometimes the stories were created for them instead of the other way around. Moreover, many of the visual cues found in the artwork would end up becoming synonymous with the genres they, covered. Adventure stories brimmed with lush jungles and lost civilizations, traversed by bold explorers dressed in khakis, and women adorned in leopard skin bikinis. Mysteries now took place in dark city streets, roamed by trenchcoat-clad detectives and femme fatales. And this new thing called science fiction? It's filled with robots, rocket ships, and ray guns. The pulps give them all a distinct visual identity that iconography would then carry on to other mediums, be it film, television, or even comics. But we already knew the covers were great. What about Now, pulp does have a bit of a reputation for printing cheap stories on even cheaper paper, and it's not entirely unearned. That was the business model for these magazines, after all, and the worst of these stories were often formulaic, exploitative, and downright racist. But you have to remember, most of these writers weren't trying to pen the next great American novel, they just wanted to get paid. And once the Great Depression hit, people were desperate for any kind of escapism. Even so, that reputation dismisses the impact pulp fiction made on literature and entertainment, as several new genres and influential works made their debut in the pulps. Science fiction as we know it wouldn't exist without Hugo Gernsback's amazing stories, introducing the genre to the public. Or John W. Campbell ushering in its golden age as the editor of astounding science fiction. It was in these cheaply printed pages that we'd get stories like Isaac Asimov's Foundation trilogy and the early works of Robert Heinlein. Even Campbell made his own special contribution with the story Who Goes There? But you're probably more familiar with its film adaptation. The concepts of interstellar empires, faster than light travel, and the laws of robotics all started here. Meanwhile, Black Mask magazine introduced a new cynical take on crime and mystery. An outlook so tough you'd call it hard-boiled. Crimes weren't solved by posh gentlemen sleuths, but down-on-their-luck detectives fighting against a corrupt justice system. Private Eyes didn't look like Sherlock Holmes or Hercule Poirot. No, they looked like Sam Spade, Philip Marlowe, and Mike Hammer. Women aren't just damsels in distress. They're ace reporters and femme fatales. Murder isn't a puzzle to be solved, it's a tragedy caused by desperate people in desperate situations. It was this line of thinking that gave us classics like The Big Sleep and The Maltese Falcon. That grit and inner torment would make its way into horror and fantasy too, with the help of Weird Tales, the unique magazine home to the iconic works of Robert E. Howard and H.P. Lovecraft. Howard brought that hard-boiled attitude and fast-paced action to the fantasy genre. His heroes weren't valiant knights slaying dragons in medieval Europe. They were morally gray warriors fighting for fortune and glory in a prehistoric age inspired by Howard's love of ancient history. And no character exemplified that sword and sorcery philosophy better than his most famous creation, Conan the Barbarian. Meanwhile, H.P. Lovecraft introduced his own philosophy on horror. At a time when most horror stories dealt with sadistic killers or supernatural threats, Lovecraft's Cthulhu mythos haunted readers with existential dread, with our insignificance in an uncaring universe, home to cosmic horrors beyond our comprehension. Be it Shoggoths, the color out of space, or even Great Cthulhu himself. Of course, we can't discuss pulp fiction without mentioning its most famous contribution to pop culture, the pulp hero. Super scientist Doc Savage, the swashbuckling caballero Zorro, the sultry Domino Lady, and the costumed crime fighter known only as the Shadow. These characters and many others laid the groundwork for our favorite superheroes, with the use of dual identities, colorful costumes, and their unique brand of vigilante justice. Without them, we wouldn't have Batman or Superman, let alone a Marvel Cinematic Universe. And just in case you're still not convinced, here are a few more famous writers who either contributed to or got their start in the pulps. Upton Sinclair, F. Scott Fitzgerald, Edgar Rice Burroughs, Earl Stanley Gardner, Agatha Christie, Jack London, Robert Bloch, Ray Bradbury, Arthur C. Clarke, Philip K. Dick, Frank Herbert, and Louis L'Amour. Now, let's bring this video to a close with Before we continue, there is an important matter that needs to be addressed. While I might look fondly on the pulps in this video and in future episodes, it won't be through rose-colored glasses. They gave us mythic heroes and imaginative stories, but the pulps also perpetuated many harmful and racist stereotypes. For many, this is a cardinal sin they can't overlook. And that's okay. I don't intend to either, but it is my hope that I can still show you the value of these works and how we might learn from them so we don't repeat their mistakes. Because the true legacy of the pulps lives on in the hearts and projects of those they inspired. In the larger-than-life characters, thrilling action, and exotic locales. They survive in our space operas, heroic fantasies, and weird mysteries. In tales of the distant past or the far-off future. From the deepest jungles to a galaxy far, far away. Their influence can be found in everything, from film to video games. They inspire us to shoot for the stars, face our fears, and fight injustice. They're dated, yet timeless. Cheesy and sincere. Without them, the world just wouldn't be as fun. So, why does Pulp matter? Because it was only the beginning, and there's no better place to start.